All right.
All
Good
right.
morning, everybody. It's
Good morning.
Friday,
Good morning.
September 12th. Gil, long time no
Yeah,
see.
yeah, man.
Good
It's great to have
morning.
you back.
Yeah, morning,
Welcome,
everybody.
welcome back.
Yeah, it was a great summer. I didn't see you since the cruise, and that was only like probably like 5 weeks ago, so it wasn't that long.
Felt like an eternity. It was good to have you back.
Yes, yes, good to be back. So, we're gonna workshop something that John Cheplak's been teaching from his KFR summit. Okay, it's his notes. We're gonna be sharing it with you, and we're gonna workshop through it, and then I'm gonna give it to you at the end. Okay, and it is going to be fantastic, but we want to make sure that we get into the right state before we get that started. So as we always do, let's go through some blessings. Let's go through some wins. Who
I
wants
gotta
to
tell
kick?
you, I'm actually gonna start a blessing off because I've heard so much about this scripting. I know that Jace was using it for Spring's team and said like 8 appointments in a day. I've heard of this thing, and it's I've been like, man, where do I find that? So it just so happens last week I was going through and I was kind of just like searching to see if it was online, stuff like that. I found a version of it. So I'm so glad you're getting the actual KFR version and sharing with us today. So for my blessings, just being here because I'm going to take my notes and be able to say, this is what I'm using for the next 45 minutes. I've got a list of people I want to call. So, finding something to say and keep being able to be in the moment with somebody, sometimes a little bit struggling, right? So I'm excited to kind of go through this practice with you. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be here.
Me too, me too. Who's next? Who else has something they want to share?
Council agent attraction.
Well, I got my VA in here, Shema, and I wanted to say hi, Shema.
Hello, everyone. Morning.
Gemma's a
Uh,
superstar.
Shema's a superstar, and so she's helping to do a lot of outbound calling, and we're working diligently on our list of 250 people. I'm at 53 right now, but I figured if I put one in a day at least, by the end of the year, we should be good. 10% close ratio. I don't know. I think it'll be all right. So we're excited about building out the Accelerate platform and working towards it. I brought her into the meeting so she can get the scripting because we're definitely using that triple line dialer outreaching, and we're getting relatively good results. I would say we're actually booking appointments for calls, and so I wanted to put a face to her for you guys because we hope to be plugging them in the calendars, you, Jay, all of us, and so we can all grow and get better. So. I got another agent, Tiffany, on hopefully, and Juliana that are looking to grow as well. And so every day is a blessing. So that's about it. That's on my
Very
side.
good. I actually heard from a coach earlier this week, and their advice was, get everybody in the office and get them to make that one appointment, then get them to go home, right?
Hmm.
One appointment a day, accomplishment, get it done. But you know what the truth is? When's the best time to set an appointment?
All the time.
And it's usually after you just set an appointment, right?
Hmm.
So what happens is, you tell them you get that appointment, you go home, but at the end of the day, they're so high off the feeling of success that they're like, I'm on a roll, I'm gonna make another one, right? But get to that one, and everything will come from that. Okay. So I like that, Desmond. One appointment a day. It all starts there. Who else has something they want to throw in?
I didn't get to be here last week, but I got to watch Rob Flick, the OG, and I talked about him already, but I want to kind of share with you guys like what's happened since that happened, right? So OG Rob Flick uh, is a guy who basically was battling cancer and just wanted to spend more time with his daughter in his final year of life. I mean, that's where his story was, right? And he's like, I'm going to do this MLM thing, and if I could get 100 people in an organization, I can make 100 grand. Like I feel like I can take advantage of the succession plan and give that to my kids and just spend the rest of the days just kind of just being with her. His story is, obviously he beat cancer and built an organization that makes him something north of $500,000 a month. And I was very surprised to see that he was still engaged with his 3 foot rule, meaning that, hey, if I'm within 3 feet, I'm going to tell everybody about how this system, this model of building wealth changed my life. And I wanted to share with them because I wanted to say, hey, you know what? You could actually do this too, or you could actually bless somebody with this information. Who do you know? Do you know a good agent, right? And the funny thing is like you can almost universally ask anybody that question. So I tested it last week and just started asking anybody that I met that was not a realtor, do you know a good agent? And remarkably, it was a great conversation starter. There was 2 things I learned. Most of them did not know their actual whole name. It always started with like, yeah, I know this one guy, or I know this one gal, she's working for such and such company, blah, blah, blah. And the next question that I stole from Rob Flake is, would you introduce him and let him know, hey, I'm looking for a great agent to start networking with? And that was it. 7 up, 7 down. 5 of which willing to talk to me, right? Willing to get some conversation, like just at least followed up on 1 or 2 more text messages with me, right? Today's the day I'm going to try to see if I can set up some lunch appointments with them and kind of see if I can kind of like have a longer conversation with them. Hey, here's my contact information. I'm always looking to get in contact with great agents in the marketplace. We do a lot of listings and do a lot of buyer sites. I'd love to collaborate. Here's our 3 upcoming listings that we haven't put on the market for, just in case you want to share with your clients. So it just great conversation starter. Everyone knows somebody. Your plumber knows somebody. Your electrician knows somebody. The guy who cuts your grass. Hey, do you know anybody who's a good realtor? I realize that the guy who cuts my lawn doesn't know that I'm a realtor. He's been cutting my lawn for 3 years, maybe 4 years now, right? And I was like, hey, you know what? Yeah, I do. My sister. How do I not know that? Well, the same reason, same reason why a lot of people aren't building the organization is because we're not following that 3 foot rule that Rob Flick showed us, right? That kind of like, hey, every person you touch, just ask him a question. Ask him, and he has had great questions like, how do you build wealth? Hey, do you have a good passive income source? You look pretty successful. Tell me about your 4th best income source, and just conversation starter. For me, it's like, hey, like I always say, you guys have heard me say, curiosity. Well, I kind of shifted a little bit of curiosity build wealth. Like just being able to ask somebody a question that they reasonably have an answer for, right? And they're comfortable answering, was able to get me 7 people in 1 week following the webinar from Rob Flick. You don't know who Rob Flick is, and I'm sure you do, but if you don't, you can always just Google him or go on YouTube him, and you'll find his wealth chart videos and a couple other videos. But I'm just excited about a guy who's just like on fire right now. So, and grateful in blessings that he gave me such a great question. Do you know any good realtors?
Such a good question, and
That's
I
it.
just remember Ben last week jumping in and sharing some of the wisdom that Rob shared at your meeting. So I appreciate him for that. Let's bring Lucy up. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good.
Happy Friday. So I wanted to, yes, actually talk about what Gil was talking about. Gil, a couple of weeks back, you shared a video from exactly that, Rob Flick, right? So I listened to it like, not kidding, 6 times, right? Because it resonated with exactly what I learned at Build at Sea. It's getting anybody that has the qualities of a builder into our organization and positioning them to build. So that being said, I went on my due diligence of telling everybody at Winners Wednesday, hey, it doesn't matter what business you're in. If you want, I used everything, that 4th income producing in your life, 4 streams of income, what's at least 3, what's your number 4? But then I found out that EXP doesn't have the letter of intent anymore. And so I was like, okay, so how do I get these people committed now? And then I found out that we do have a referral, I guess, network that we can bring people in that are not going to necessarily, be in production, but they're going to build. But then I was speaking to the brokers and they don't know how to position a person that, like Rob Flick was saying, anybody can do real estate, bring them in as a builder, get them to bring in the realtors. So I wanted to share that because I've been going back and forth with conversations. I actually have one person who wants to build their organization, and I'm stuck. Do
Lucy,
you
you're
have
not
any
stuck.
thoughts?
Yeah, so we don't have something called an LOI anymore, but they just renamed it. That's all they did. Okay,
So
so
it's the
so
same thing.
it does the same thing, and it's something like the rev
It's a
share
placement holder.
placeholder. Yeah, it's a rev share placeholder addendum. It does the exact same thing. So you could go ahead and do that. And you're right, we do have the referral division that they could align with. Okay, where they still get access to a lot of our resources, a lot of our trainings, don't have to join an MLS, and can really help us build. Yeah, if that's
Yeah,
their focus. Okay.
I didn't know we had that, but that's a good thing. So, the last question that one of these builders asked me is, okay, so if I'm not going to be in production, who's going to help me take care of the people that I bring in? So then that started me thinking about the co-sponsorship, and I'm like, I have to find someone that has the systems and the tools, and all the stuff that people that are in production are going to need, because obviously we want people that produce as well. The builders will build, but the people they bring in are the ones that have to produce. So that's where I'm at. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
any thoughts on
I gotta
that?
tell you,
great problem to have.
for me,
And I thought of you, Gil, of course,
I
because
pitch
I know Gil.
FastCap. FastCap is my co-sponsor, right? So for every person I'm bringing in, I tell them about this process that in those first 6 weeks, they're going to have a proven system, and they're going to have a network of agents that they're going to be working with. And they're going to have activities 3 days a week, right? Where they're going to
Mhm.
be doing real life real estate stuff. And I show them results, right? I show them, I go on the website, I go to exptoolkit./growth, and I show them, hey, here's our, and I go to the fast track. I show them, hey, listen, you got if you're an average agent, which is the average, you're going to leave out of here between 4 and 6 agreements signed by you and your client, right? You're going to be doing dollar productive activities. And that's the difference between our brokerage and all other brokerages, right? So no other brokerages, they're going to have you go through, and you're going to go through a mindless amount of trainings that are not in a logical order and aren't going to lead you to actually making money. See, we built this system with the top agents in the world, right? We are where pros go to grow. So we built this system copycatting their models. So you, as a new agent, have a blueprint for success. So I sell
Right.
FastCap, right? So no
So let
matter
me give
where
you my
you are in the
experience
country,
with that.
what's that?
So and again, let me give you my feedback on that, because I did that. So I put people that are in my organization at FastCap. They did the whole 6 weeks, but at the end of the day, nothing works if you don't work it, right? Now I have another person going through FastCap, so I'm gonna see how that works
All
out
right,
for
can I
them.
tell you
So
how
I
we do
did,
it?
yes, tell me how you do it,
Yeah.
because maybe
So
it's
fast cap
that.
is not, hey, go to this link, right? So I'm gonna show you our fast cap plus. Right? So our
Okay.
fast cap
Yeah.
plus is, we do have anybody who's going through fast cap, they come by and they watch it together, right? And if we got a bunch of people going through fast cap at the same time, it's like, hey, we're gonna meet here. This is where we're gonna watch fast cap, and we usually have a
Ah,
leader sitting there with them, right? So a leader sits. Anybody who wants to volunteer, any person who's already doing business can volunteer to be a fast cap mentor. And all they're gonna do is just sit there and watch the video with them, and then ask them some questions, right? We invite them to start a WhatsApp together, or to, I'm sorry, there's a Facebook community, or probably Slack now, that they all can go into and really go in there. And then you have to ask them, hey man, what'd you learn today? What are you doing today? Like, we cannot just have somebody just sit on a link and think that they're going to self-learn the business. You got to follow up on them, right?
yes.
And you get the schedule. Hey man, do me a favor. The moment you finish, give me a call. Let me know how it went today. What are you going to do? What was your aha moment? And you'd be surprised. Here's what I learned sitting in, I've sat in 2 classes now. Sitting in a class, they hear some things, but it doesn't aha them. So just
Right.
talking out loud with them, like some of the terms that they've heard that they didn't really register, like, I'll be honest with you, I was in a class where they talked about prospecting, and I asked them, just out of curiosity, so what do you think prospecting really is?
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation went from like, oh, just calling people and asking them if they want to do business. And I'm like, well, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? Right? And I was like, that sounds like a terrible thing. Like, why would you want to do that? I was like, so we just had a conversation on how to be human and have human interactions where you found out about people's goals and see if we could serve them. And through that conversation, it kind of just allowed them to be like, oh, I can do that portion. Right. So
Right.
you can't just send somebody to a link. Like, imagine in the world if we could just send people to links and all our problems are solved. Like, we'd all be fucking filthy rich. So you do have to have some human interaction with them. So if you send somebody fast cap, you got to inspect what you expect. I can
Right.
tell you there's two reasons why fast cap works for me. One, I believe fast cap works. I've seen fast cap work, right? So my belief level is super high. So I transfer my energy to them about how fast cap is working for so many people, right? So that's the first part. Two, inspect what you ask. Hey, I got two people going to fast cap right now, right? So I'm gonna check with them. Hey man, how's it going? Hey, what'd you learn? What did you learn? You guys good? You need anything? Give me a call, right? So fast cap has got to be something that you just don't tell somebody to do. You got to
Right.
follow up on it.
So that means that, again, you got to give them the structure. They have to be willing to be structured, held accountable. And
But you
that's
don't put
really
them
the,
in fast cap
and I
unless
agree.
they at least say that they are, right? Right. So you got to let them know, say, hey, listen, I just want to let you know this gift that we're giving you. That, by the way, put your credit card away. I'm not going to charge you anything for it. Nobody's going to ask you for money for this. But I need to know, like, if you're going to sign up for this, that you're serious about this. This is something you want to do.
Yeah.
You're going to give me a commitment that you're going to be there 3 days a week. Like, I don't care if you've got COVID. Like, you're on Zoom. Like, I've been on Zooms with COVID before. Like, nobody gets infected. Like, you got to be there, right? Is there any reason
Yeah.
why you can foresee right now why you wouldn't be there? Well, unless I got into some kind of car accident. You get a car accident on your way to be at home? Like, no. Like, whatever excuse you think you have, like, I need to know you're serious.
Okay, so these builders, and this is good for anyone that wants to, really, everybody needs to get out there and talk to everybody because real estate is not just for realtors, right? Anybody can open up a real estate organization and start building, which is the revelation that I had. So these builders, um, your recommendation is put them into the referral network, right? Obviously, again, we have to like hold them account. Nobody's gonna build if they're not part of something like this, right? Or around other builders. And then
Yeah.
their people, as they bring them in, create a space and a place for them to do fast cap together with the accountability and with the, synergy. I know fast cap works if you do what they tell you. I
Yeah,
mean,
and the last thing I would tell you, last thing I would tell you about that is that you know, you're gonna have people that just want to just invite a few friends to come into EXP. And then they're going to get a little taste of what it looks like, and then they're going to be like, well, I only knew these two or three people, right? So everything's dependent on their thing. And Brian Carruthers talks about that in Building an Empire, right? You're going to exhaust your network real fast, right? So you got to give them a way to kind of build upon that. And that's where these 3-foot rules, that's where like the new fast attract system probably would be valuable for those people that just want to do some agent attraction, because what they're going to do is like, oh, I know that my sisters or my friend, or I got at least 3 people that if I can bring them in, I will just come in, and their whole plan is just that, and it hasn't really
right.
developed on that. So you kind of have to give them some tools and resources. Fast attract, I haven't been through it yet, but I know that's the one thing I've been trying to schedule in to see if I can get part of that program. And that would what exactly that would give them. Hey, you're going to recruit people. They're going to use the fast cap, and you're going to keep recruiting people. You're going to use fast attract, right? And then the next thing is get them all EXP on, right?
Yeah.
The heavy lifting gets done
Yes.
at
So
events,
Gil,
right?
you're right on, right? We're all gonna run out of our own contacts, right? And John Cheplack, that's exactly what he spoke about, and that's what I want to get into because I don't want to keep
Let's go.
everybody way over time. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen, and I'm not going to like uh, chop this down. I want to go through it the way that he gave it to us because there's so much information in this that and you get the document later on and do what you want with it, but there's just so much in here, and just so you all understand, John Cheplack, he's the one that coaches the teams at EXP, the top teams at EXP. Okay, the like I think it's the third Thursday of every month. He's got the team mastery session, And this is some of the stuff that he goes through. So he's been doing this since he was 33 years old. Okay. And he's broken it down to the most effective script to use. And he's had people pay him, I think it's like $2,000 to go to his ranch and run through this. And Gil mentioned that I think Spring went, no, not Spring, maybe Spring's recruiter went, right?
Chase.
8 appointments in a day using this, what we're going to give you today. Okay. But John sets it up and he says, hey, this thing, obviously withstood the test of time. But he also frames it and he says, guys, recruiting's not easy. It's uncomfortable.
Recording in progress.
Recruiting is prospecting, and recruiting includes rejection. But recruiting delivers huge returns, and few want to go through the pain to get there. Now, the team leaders, the brokers, they know they need to do it, but they don't. So John came up with the most comfy, right? That's how he named this doc, the comfy script. It's a comfortable way to use the language pattern on the phone. And his goal is to reduce the friction so that the recruiter will make the call and get the appointment. That's it, right? So a few more things before we go into the script. Number one is you're selling the benefit of the appointment on the call. You're going to let them know that you're discussing their business, not changing companies. The second point is to reduce friction, we handle objections in advance. By acknowledging that they're happy at their current company. And he shares a promise that you're going to learn and you're going to use in your script. Promise is, I'm not going to talk about your company. I'm not going to talk about my company. And I'm not going to try to recruit you. We're going to talk about the only thing that matters, you and your business. And here's why. And he has a number of reasons that you could follow up that statement with. It would be ridiculous for me to expect you to make a change that would uproot your business and personal life on one meeting. Right? So see how that one sits with you. Who knows? Maybe in the future, you will see value and want to join us. Or if something changes in the future, we want to be your first choice. Second place, first choice. Maybe you'll never join us. But at least if someone approaches you about changing companies or being unhappy where they are, you'd likely refer them to me. Which one of these sit well? Which one of these sound good to you? I like C. Something changes in your future. We want to be your first choice. I sat down with somebody that was 4 years at their brokerage this week, actually, 2 days ago, introduced by somebody on this call. And she was like, I would have never left my brokerage. I wouldn't even consider it. I did everything for them. I bled their colors. But something happened recently, and now I can't stop thinking about leaving. So I just want to be in their mind when it comes time for them to, or when they realize that maybe their, happy place isn't as happy as they thought it was. He says empathy is very important. You do this by letting them know that you recognize they are happy at their current company up front. And when they state they're not moving, you let them know that you've heard great things about their company and ask them what they like most. So that's reducing friction, acknowledging that, the number one response on these recruiting calls always is, I'm happy where I am. So first thing he does is, I know you're happy. I understand you're happy. Seek first to understand, then be understood. And demonstrate that by restating them back their answers. And always basing your next question on their response. Sales and Conversion 101. Let them know that you're listening. Let them clarify their answer. And go deeper if they decide to. All right, makes them feel important and keeps them talking about themselves. Three most important subjects: me, myself, and I. Okay, the next one is cool because time is also a big objection. Always be clear and declare that we will meet for 30 minutes. Right? The subconscious mind of your prospect thinks that a recruiting interview is going to blow out half of their day. So this handles the next objection. Handles the time objection in advance. So always use that 30 minutes. Here it is. You guys ready? Word for word. Word for word, line for line, okay? C is for prospect, P is for caller. We're going to do this line by line. Hi, super agent. Vincent Koo, Mute. All right. Hi, super agent. Vincent Koo with eXp Realty. I know you're probably happy at your current company. I just wanted to let you know that if anything changes, we would like to be your destination broker. And then wait. So he's got a couple of responses that he usually gets. Number one is, thanks, but yes, I'm very happy. Or, how do you know I'm happy? Because if you weren't, you'd already be working here, right? Or, I'm never leaving. Or, thank you, I've always respected your agents and company. And that one, when you get that, you go for the appointment. Then the next is, I understand you're with a great company. If you were to ever make a change, what company stands out to you the most? Or I've heard great things about your company. Tell me what you like most about working there. So when they tell you what they like, this is the part where you use that active listening and you go back and you get them in the form of, that's great. So what I'm hearing is you're saying that the training is very important to you, and this and what skills are you most focused on right now? So you're getting them to expand. You're following up with questions that are in line with the subject, the response that they gave. Allow them to expand and chat about themselves for a bit, and then pivot to the appointment. Let me ask you this. When would be a good time to sit down or hop on a Zoom for 30 minutes, have a cup of coffee, and talk about your business? No mention of EXP, right? So reminder, say 30 minutes every single time, because I know it's a big objection to people sitting for an interview. So handle the objection in advance. If they give you pushback for the appointment, then you follow up with the promise. Let me make you some promises. In our meeting, I won't talk about my company. We won't talk about your company, and I won't try to recruit you. We'll talk about the only thing that matters, you and your business. Tuesday good or Thursday better? It'd be ridiculous and poor leadership for me to ask you to uproot your business and personal life in an initial meeting. So he's got a couple of responses, whatever the rejection response is. He also said, I don't know if he wrote this down, but he's like, if you don't sit through, like, I think it was like 5 objections or something like that. He's like, if you don't push through 5 objections, you wasted the call. I hope it's in the doc later. I forgot. I don't want to, if it was like 3 or 5, but if you don't push through 3 or 5 objections, you wasted the call. So whatever their rejection is at this point, your response is, are you open-minded about your business? And almost 100% of the people say yes. As a promise, take them through the promise script again. In our meeting, I won't talk about my company. We won't talk about your company, and I won't try and recruit you. We'll talk about the only thing that matters, you and your business. Let's sit down for 30 minutes, have a cup of coffee, and talk about your business. So promise, then 30 minutes. They give you another rejection. I'm too busy. I've got closings. Whatever it is. Then you go with, are you a big thinker or a little thinker? 99% of the time, they're going to tell you that they're a big thinker. This is where he merges in the next part of the dialogue. Close again for the appointment. If they reject again, so how many was that? Like 4 rejections, right? If they reject again, then you have all of these business questions to get them into dialogue, to get to know them. And we'll run through that. How's your business tracking this year? Year to date, where you want versus where you want it to be. What's that one thing you're focusing on right now that you feel will have the most impact on your business? How are you currently and consistently generating hand raisers that want to buy or sell? What's the one activity that's generated you the most business for you in your career? What's that one thing that you'd be able to do personally or for your family if you hit your income goals? What's more important to you right now? Making more money while applying the same amount of time to your business, or making the same amount of money and getting back more time? It's a good one. So have a dialogue about them, their business, follow the framework of basing the questions on their responses, demonstrating empathy, and then close them again for the appointment. And if they reject you again, close the bridge between being open-minded and being a thinker. Listen, what I heard you say is that you're open-minded and a big thinker. What would get in the way of us sitting down and having a discussion about your business? If you get rejected again, move to more questions about them again. Be persistent. How's your business tracking this year to date versus where you want it to be? What's the one thing that you're focusing on right now that you feel will have the most impact on your business? How are you currently consistently generating hand raisers that want to buy or sell? What's the one activity that's generated the most business for you in your career? What's the one thing that you would be able to do personally or for your family if you hit your income goal? And what's more important to you right now? Making more money while you apply the same amount of time to your business, or making the same amount of money and getting more time back? Base your questions on their responses, go deeper, and get them talking more about themselves. And then merge into the fourth time closing the appointment. If you don't get rejection, if you still get rejection, don't quit. I don't know. I always thought it made sense to sit down with competition and see what they're doing. And the last thing I'm going to try to do, going to try and recruit you in an initial meeting. What I want to do is discover some ways I could support you with your business. Who knows? Maybe in the future, you'll see value in our interaction and want to join. Or if something changes, we can be your destination broker. Go for the appointment again. Couple of last tips. After every call, send them something of value. Business building tip, a video you created that doesn't brag about the company or ask them to join. You're coaching, training, and leading the competitors' agents better than their current leadership, so that if something changes in the future or they see value, they'll choose you eventually. And he talks about an email campaign that kind of ties in with this. He's got this in a text. So send 5 of these texts out a day, make 5 calls a day. That's over 1,200 texts a year and over 1,200 calls a year. When's the last time you did direct text or direct calls of 1,200 prospects? That's the plan. All right. Francis, can you share this to the chat? So all of you guys could take it, download it, share it with your group, share it with your organization. What are your thoughts?
I want to just share first off. I fucking can't wait. I'm gonna study the shit out of this and memorize this because some of this stuff wasn't natural for me. But the one thing that I heard from Jace that made this work was that they're comfy when they do this. There's a picture of him doing this, and he's sitting like in this like outside lawn chair, right? It's just like having a conversation with a friend, right? It's just a a comfortable conversation versus a recruiting call. So the get comfy call is you got to get comfy too. You got to get comfy with the script. You got to get comfy with your deliverance. You got to get comfy with the fact that that you're going to get through 5 objections or you're wasting the call. I wrote that down 2 or 3 times. Like, if I don't go through 5 objections, I'm wasting this opportunity, right? Because they may not pick up on my call next time. So I've got to make everything work on this. And what do I got to lose? I got many, many more people to call. I think that one of the things that between this and what Rob Flick shared with me that I thought was so exciting is like, there's 3 million agents, 20 million worldwide. We've got 90,000 of them. Next, plenty of calls
Yeah.
to be made. Yeah, perfect. And by the
Awesome.
way,
So
I love the fact that we've got there. I'm gonna just study it. Just gonna study it, study it, and study it, and just kind of I'm gonna practice it. I'll probably practice it with my wife. It's just gonna just go through it because I think it's worth it. And I think that's what you really
yeah,
have to ask yourself is like, if this works for someone else, can it work for you? The answer is absolutely yes. Right? If one person can do it, another can do it. And the second thing is it's already been outlined. It's already been battle tested. It works if you work it. So, Vic, I mean, Vincent, I got to tell you, thank you for sharing that with us today. I got to play student today, I love it. Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. I think this is great. Just take it, print it out, be like Gil and study it, master it, practice it, call each other, and let's put it to use. Okay, 9:45 on the dot.
Crushed it.
Awesome. Uh, let's get started. Get moving with this. Read it to yourself. Script practice is a solo thing. Go after
Is
it.
it in the chat? The script? Where's that?
Yeah, it is in the chat as a PDF. So take it and download it right now before we close this room. All right, guys. Happy Friday. Enjoy.
Got it. Let's go. All right, guys. Take
Thank
care. Be well.
you.